And we continue with our interview of John and Sandra Byner by Kara White of Pink Slip Animation, already in progress.
Okay, we can talk about more current things
Okay.
that you've done.
Let's talk about you.
Well, actually, I grew up seeing you on television, so
Yeah,
those are a little bit
I hope
like
so.
Carol Burnett's show.
Yeah,
and,
love Carol too. Love
yes,
Carol.
that
They
was
were-
one of my
they were
favorite
fun
shows in the world.
Yeah.
And The Odd Couple and all of those great
Yeah.
things that you've been on. And you've done a lot of character.
Yeah, lots of characters.
A lot of characters.
Walk on things and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it seems like you enjoy doing the characters a lot.
I did the show Bizarre in Canada. Mm-hmm. 156 shows, I think. They were half-hour shows. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the series, my producer, Alan Bly, came up to me and said, "Do you realize that you were over 350 characters in those 6 years?"
Yeah, That's what I
You know?
get the idea.
Little kids and
It's
old
amazing.
people and Superman
Wow.
and preachers. And
Yes.
Wow.
what have you?
Yeah. Yeah. You have a keen observation
Well,
of
I do
people.
the best I can.
And so voiceover probably comes naturally to you.
Well, the
because of
first
that.
one, my brother Michael, my older brother Michael. There were six in my family. There are now 5. Michael is gone. But Michael was a teenager when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. Around the same time Bing Crosby picture was from. And he talked like this. He'd make everybody laugh like
Right.
that. So one day I was walking by them and he was going, "So anyway," and I said,
Wow.
Wow. And then everybody went from Michael to,
Wow.
"So I did this." Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's funny when I did
incredible.
my first television show that meant anything was the Merv Griffin Talent Scouts.
Oh, wow.
Remember they had
Yeah.
people supposedly finding people around.
Yeah.
Well, Irving Mansfield discovered me. You know, a friend of mine brought Joe Calcagno brought me to see him, and he said, "I'm going to put you on the show." So a couple weeks went by, and I was on the show. So I put this thing together. The Goofs of the Stars.
Uh-huh.
The Goofs of the Stars.
That's great.
One of them was something I've done all my life, all my career, was Johnny Mathis. It's not for me to hey, you have I'm seeking just for me. It's hard to So anyway, that was one of them. But the other one, which I used that little voice for the first time ever in public, was the Elvis Presley thing. Remember how we used to have the guitar with the strap that came around here?
Right.
And then he sometimes put it around his
Yeah,
back.
right.
It was kind of like,
I'm cool.
like cool.
Yeah.
So I sang part of the song like Elvis, and then when the strap went across his throat, I went like this. First, like, "Love me tender, love me true, never let me go." And then I switched it and across my thing. And went, "Love me tender, love me true."
But the nice thing about this is that this guy can do impersonations.
Yeah.
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 Name one. You want to hear somebody?
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, how about John Wayne?
Okay.
Well, we got a circle of the wagons.
President Obama.
Did I say I'd do that?
Felix doing D. Martin.
The ant in the
Oh, I
Aardvark.
love
I mean,
that.
how can you forget that?
I can't. I love
I was
that.
going to go to the picnic, and I said to the aardvark,
Ugh,
I said, I'm not going to the picnic.
Right.
And you know what the aardvark said? He said, "What the hell do you mean? You are the picnic."
That was amazing. So when did you start doing voiceover?
Oh,
Did you transition
okay,
into
hey.
doing that?
Exactly then.
Exactly then, because those were amazing.
Exactly then, because
Yes.
I came out here and I couldn't penetrate the click that the voiceover people had, you know?
Yeah.
We all know
Oh.
Ralph does that, doesn't he? Yeah, let's get Ralph.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Doesn't Ralph? He almost does it, but let's get Ralph anyway.
Anyway, the click I couldn't penetrate.
Right,
I couldn't
right.
penetrate the click. I got called in, having done impersonations on television, to Patty and Freeling.
Great.
Fritz Freeling. Fritz Freeling calls me into his office, and he has these characters, and he says he holds up the ant, and he says, now, this guy is kind of lazy and kind of, shiftless, kind of
Right.
slow talking kind of guy.
So I said, well, how about Dean Martin? He's slow.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think I'll go and talk
Yeah.
to him.
Anyway, he says, I like it. Then he shows me the aardvark.
Right.
And he says, this guy's nervous. He's always looking for food. He can't pick. Yeah, he can't pick. How about Jackie Busy? I love it, he says.
Oh,
So there you go. So that was the beginning.
that was the beginning.
Did 18 of those.
Yeah, those were. I remember those really well. Yeah, those were awesome.
Yeah, they were fun.
So what's your favorite? What are a couple of your favorite projects that you were a part of?
Well, you mentioned one. I like The Odd Couple. I liked working with Tony and,
Awesome.
and Jack.
Yeah.
They were terrific
So
guys.
great. That's
Great
And
writing.
my first movie was a half a movie.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll tell you the story, okay?
Okay.
My first movie, a friend of mine introduced me to Bogdanovich, Mr. Bogdanovich, and so he had this "What's Up, Doc?" with Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal.
yeah.
Ryan
One of
O'Neal.
my favorite
Ryan O'Neal.
movies.
Ryan Stern. That's
Still.
right. Now, I had worked a lot of television shows. Worked a lot of television shows, and when they said that's a wrap, it meant it was over. Okay. But now I'm on the movie set over here in Universal or someplace, and I'm sitting around for weeks, and I played a musicologist, and I'm sitting around weeks in Bing Crosby's tuxedo from Western Costume. I looked in there one day and I go, "Hey, Bing Crosby!" All right.
That's perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah, whoa. So I talked like that for the rest of the time I sat around there. And so anyway, I'm waiting around, and anyway, Bogdanovich comes over one day and he says, "Okay, we're going to do a thing under a table here," and so they raise the table up, and it's Barbara and Ryan and everybody.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I
scene.
said I used some kind of voice like this or something. I don't know what the hell I did.
It
They
was
said,
funny.
That's a wrap!
So I take my kids and we go to Antigua. I'm in Antigua, and the phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's Harry, the manager, and he says, "They're looking for you in San Francisco." I said, "I'm in Antigua." So that was half a movie.
But you were
And
in
I
it.
didn't even take credit on it. I just know my credit's not on it.
No?
No, it's got some other name they picked.
Huh, weird.
Yeah, but I get residuals.
Well, that's all that matters.
Through that
right?
name. I don't know how they figure it's me. I guess who's that guy under the... Oh, that's Byner. Get him one.
We forgot his name.
Yeah, so that was kind of
How,
funny.
how bizarre.
Yeah, isn't it weird?
But I remember the character.
So here's a kind of funny story that took place there. We're all sitting around a big table one day, Barbara and some of the extra people, and and myself, and turns out I was too. And somebody in the circle said to Barbara, "Do you know that?" And we're talking about this. She said, "Do you know John does George Jessel?" And she said, "Oh, go on, you don't." I said, "I do." So I did a little Jessel. I said, "Indeed, in the old days, when the thing and a thing, I talk about," I said, "Okay." Anyway, she laughs, and everybody laughs. And Ryan O'Neal comes walking through the door. And she says, "Oh, Ryan." He says, "Yeah." She says, "John does George Jessel." And he goes, "Why?" I always remind him of that. He lip syncs the end of it with me by now.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny.
I didn't have an answer for him.
What was your favorite film that you were in? Or was that wasn't
I
your
like
only...
Transylvania 65000.
Oh, I love that movie.
We had fun.
I love that movie.
We had fun doing that.
That was
Yeah,
hilarious.
that was fun.
Yeah.
That seems like you guys just had a blast and just turned on the camera.
It was fun. And I was able
Yeah.
to like do my my calisthenics. There's one part where the guys are throwing me back and forth as Radu.
Right. Yeah.
And they're throwing me back and forth. Jeff Goldblum and Begley, at Begley Jr. And they're throwing me back and forth. And Rudy DeLuca, the man who wrote it and directed it, he comes over to me and he says, "Do you think they could throw you and one of them could miss you and you could wind up on your head in that coffin that's on the wall?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, but just get a little closer to the wall and we'll work it out." And you see the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right up there.
Right,
It was
right.
great. They put a little pad down there for my head.
That's good. Thank goodness.
It was fun. We had a
Yeah.
great time. We had a great time.
It seemed like it was just.
It was nuts.
Yeah. Well, how is it doing voiceover with your daughter, Sandra?
Sandra is my firstborn.
Yes.
Got 4 children.
Yay.
There's Sandra, and Rosine was the next.
Uh-huh.
And then Don, my son Don, and Patricia was the youngest. And we always used to travel around together when I was working in their summer vacations and sometimes their Easter vacations. They'd fly out and they'd land there. It's great. They'd land at LAX and I'd see them get off the phone. They had everything that wasn't nailed down. The stewardess would give them wings and cups and stirrers and things, and they'd have little baskets, all this stuff. So cute.
Toys and
Yeah, things that puzzles
cute.
and what have you. And we'd always take long drives up to San Francisco. Lived in Sausalito for a while, and then so we made friends. So we'd all go up there and see our friends in Sausalito, and even up to Willits. We had friends up in Willits. We'd drive up to those places, and we'd sing in the car, and we'd do voices and stuff. And they used to have this one little character, was a finger puppet. They had an old witch.
Yes.
You know?
So much fun.
And they'd say, Dad, they'd go look for it and hide it sometimes, you know. Is it long, the hair on the end of the nose? What the hell do they know? What the hell? Just always bitching about everything, you know. And they just loved it. Anyway,
God.
so we've been doing voices and stuff together for years. Just kidding. And Sandy, when she puts on air, she gets very British, and she's been doing that. So anyway, Father.
Father.
Yeah, she sounds like Kathy Hepburn sometimes.
So busted.
Yes.
So, Father.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So it
we've been
comes
doing
naturally.
Absolutely.
That's so nice.
Yeah, and
that you can work together too.
Yeah.
It is.
And she's got a lot of voices, you know. I mean, it surprised me.
Yeah.
I know she'd done some over the years, but I don't know. She's got accents and things that I'd never heard before, which is nice.
Takes after her father.
Yeah.
Give us a little
ways.
Brooklyn, Sandra.
What are you talking about? I never went over there. I'm from Long Island, but Brooklyn is a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds like Barbara.
I know. Well, Barbara.
It's like
Barbara.
butter.
Yeah, it's like butter. It's like butter. You sing like butter, Sandra. It's amazing. You're gonna take over when I retire. You know that? Oh my God.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So there you go. That's
Perfect.
That's my kid.
That's so great.
Rip Taylor. You know, not Rip Taylor? No, not
Oh, Rip Taylor.
Crazy man.
Yes.
We years ago. Years ago we did a pilot together.
Hilarious.
A pilot, and not we weren't the stars. We were people they used in the pilot. We had as guests or whatever. Anyway, the first day we were allowed to bring our kids and stuff to meet the gang around. You know, it wasn't the read-through day. It was just a meet and greet. So I did, and they all met Rip, and they all met everybody, and so I took them home. The next day I show up, and naturally it's by myself. And Rip is coming toward me in the hallway.
Oh gosh.
He said, John! I said, what? I said, what? He said, I miss the kids!
That's awesome.
We love him. He is great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually stayed in his house in Lake Tahoe once.
Yeah?
Rented it out. Yeah.
Oh, good.
And it had a diamond encrusted name on the garbage compactor. It said garbage in diamonds.
Well.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was very Rip Taylor.
Talk about Rip Taylor. I used to rent a house from Phyllis Diller. Now, these people never even know you rent the house because they have 5 or 6 of them.
Right. Yeah.
So I rent this house from Phyllis Diller, and I go into the bedroom and I close the door and I look around. There's all mirrors.
Oh, that's
All mirrors.
great.
I couldn't find the door. I turned around.
Dad, do you remember what I said to her? Dad, I said to her, I said, Phyllis, how many times do you have to replace this every year?
When people
Yeah,
try to
because she
find
was-
their way out.
No, the mirrors, because she's always, saying, my face, my everything,
Oh,
Oh,
well,
my
she
God.
never went in that house, I'm sure.
Oh, my God.
But anyway, that was a strange room.
It was. I had to stay in that room.
Yep. You go, there I am, and there I am, and there I am, and there I am,
Oh, my
there I am,
gosh.
and there I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a carnival in there.
And that ends part 2 of our interview with John and Sandra Byner. Tune in next time for part 3. Later, cats.